All right, now we'll just start putting our springs and clips back on. Now, one thing I noticed, this piece is called the automatic adjuster. It's supposed to spin freely. As the brakes wear down, it will expand and it'll keep the brakes automatically adjusted. This thing is seized. I'm going to try to break it free. A lot of times you can get them to free up and work properly. Worst case scenario, you might end up having to replace your brake adjuster if it's seized like this one is. So, just a couple little tricks for it. I'm going to try just hitting it lightly with a hammer first. And that did nothing. Wow, that thing is seized. All right, got it to move. What you want to do is just go ahead and unthread it all the way. That way you can clean up the threads. And it should be in perfect working order once you get it all cleaned up and re-lubricated. So I'll go ahead and do that and get this thing ready to reuse. Alright, we've got the self-adjuster freed up now. You can see the threaded half spins. What we did, we broke it free, cleaned it up, and I put some brake lubricant on there. I'm going to add a little bit of brake lubricant to the other side as well. That'll just keep everything working smoothly like it should. You can see now it all spins freely. So what we'll do is go ahead and set our adjuster back in place. Goes back in just like it came apart. Now we have our this little arm. Which that slides over the metal pin that sticks out of that brake shoe. And then we had our one spring which you're going to compare it, make sure the spring is the same, which it is. And this popped into this brake drum here, and it clips onto this little hole on the adjuster arm piece. Now there's actually specialty tools made for putting these springs back on, but again I couldn't find mine, so I'm going to try to get it with some pliers. You want to be real careful when doing this because these springs have a lot of tension in them. Enough tension to slide me across the floor even. Okay, you got that spring on. Now all we have left is the one spring on the bottom. Now this one came, this one's even trickier. It goes behind this brake shoe on the back side, clips into this back hole. Right here you can see it. And now we have to stretch the spring from here to that hole right there. And again, use a lot of caution when doing it like this. If you have the specialty tool for it, that's really your best way to go. Okay. plan B. Let's see if that'll give me a little bit more room. Got the spring on. I popped the base of the shoes over this little clip here just to give me a little bit more room. So now you want to just pull them back into their proper spot there. I also went ahead and washed our brake drum. Believe it or not, the easiest way to do it is just soap and water. So I just put it in the sink, washed it up real good with some soap and water. It's never a bad idea to get these turned as well or even replaced, but our customer did not want to do that at this time, so we're just going to go ahead and reuse them, which should be fine for rear brakes, drum brakes. So what we need to do is just put the drum on to test fit it. Now it's not going to be perfectly centered yet with the brake shoes, so kind of got to wiggle it sometimes. Yeah, it's actually a little too tight. Alright, it's on, but it's a little bit tighter than it should be. You don't want it to go down the road like that because over time that'll create too much heat and you'll destroy your new brake shoes. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it back off, and using the adjuster piece that we freed up, you can take a little bit of adjustment out of the brakes. Aha. Okay, so we got the brakes adjusted good. They should have just the slightest bit of friction on them. You know, the brake shoes should just barely be touching the drums, which is exactly where we are. I mean, I can spin it freely, but you can feel a little bit of resistance in there. And that's exactly where they should be. So we'll go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. We're going to replace all the same parts. Then we'll show you how to bleed the brakes. All right, we got the right side brakes all complete. All we have to do now is bleed the brakes. When you're bleeding brakes, you always want to start with the farthest from the master cylinder, which is going to be the passenger rear. So we'll get all the air out of there, and then we'll go to the driver rear. So we're going to show you the proper way to press the brake pedal, and then we'll show you how to bleed it on the driver rear. Recording.
It's recording.
It's recording. Okay, now we need another operator to press the brake pedal while we bleed the brakes. So I've got my wrench on the bleeder screw. We're going to go ahead and bleed these brakes. Go ahead and press down on the pedal. While he's holding the pedal down, you want to break loose the bleeder and then tighten it back up again before he releases the pedal. Okay, go ahead and go up with the pedal. And down. Okay, we got the passenger side bled, so now we're going to go ahead and do the driver's side. First I'm going to break loose this screw here. Then I'll have my assistant Rob press down the brake pedal. Rob, can you press down? And what you do is you just crack the bleeder open a little bit and then tighten it back again. Up. And down. And there's some brake fluid. Now you should see a couple, there's some air. When it squirts like that, that's an air pocket. Up. And down. And you just want to bleed a few times after you see the last bubble just to make sure it's all out. And up. And down. Once you go a couple times without any air, you're good. Just tighten it up and then you're all done. Go ahead, go up. And down one more time. And up. And how's the brake pedal feel? Do you feel tight?
Good.
Cool. All right, thank you, Rob. All right, and that is how you bleed the brakes. So now all we got to do is put the wheels back on and we are good to go.